Oh, hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigor Mortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight we have, continuing on for our anime special, Kisaragi Station. So, following in line with our... We're not doing anime, but we're doing Japanese creepypastas for anime. So, yeah. And we're covering one that I guess it's been a long time coming, because Kisaragi Station is one of those urban legends / creepypastas that has existed since since the early days of creepypastas. So, the origin of it, it was a 2chan series of posts from 2004. 2chan, or Futabi channel, being a popular Japanese image board or message board online that has been around since about the early 2000s, late 90s. It was posted in the middle of a thread called Post About Strange Occurrences Around You, thread 26. The poster was initially anonymous, but started using their name later, Hatsumi. So that's why we have like the name of the person who's talking to the randos on the image board. And this was an actual thread on a Japanese message board 2chan. So just FYI. We read the version we're reading, or the iteration we're reading of the story, is a version that was presented on Kawabana, a website devoted to Japanese horror, including translating Japanese creepypastas and urban legends to English. So, without further ado, I will dive into the rundown of Kisaragi Station. So a girl named Tasumi begins posting on the 2chan thread, Post About Strange Occurrences Around You, thread 26, as previously stated, with strangers posting replies to try and help her, or simply react to her predicament. Hasumi seems to have gotten on the wrong train, as she's been traveling nonstop for 20 minutes. There are 5 other passengers in the train with her, but they are all asleep. At the suggestions of the anonymous posters, she goes to the front of the train to see the conductor, but the window is covered and the door is closed, locked maybe presumably because she didn't try and just open the door. And no one replies at Hasumi's knocking. The train passes through a tunnel, which is weird because her usual train route doesn't. And they find themselves stopping at a station, the titular Kisaragi Station. She gets off the train and looks around, but finds the place empty, not a soul. There's a few houses, but the area is mostly grasslands and mountains. As she's replying to posters on the image board on her phone and looking for a times table on the station, the train leaves without her. She's able to call her parents and even the police, but they can't seem to locate a Kisaragi Station. And neither can the posters online. Like when they search up on the internet, Kisaragi Station, they can't find anything about it. Although one commenter does mention that the kanji for Kisaragi does mean Oni or demon. So that's ominous. Very scared, Hasumi follows some of the post's advice and starts walking along the tracks back through the tunnel. However, while there, she begins hearing drums behind her. She also hears a man calling for her to get off the tracks, and when she turns around, she finds a one-legged man who vanishes. Understandably scared, but pushing forward, the posters continuing to give her comments and try to help her in the situation. Hasumi eventually reaches the other side of the tunnel and finds a kindly old man there. He offers to give her a ride to the next station, where there's a business hotel. And when she asks where they are, he says Hina, but she's not so sure about that. The commenters warn against this, and Hatsumi soon begins to agree with them as the man is driving her in a car, taking her to the mountains, and has been silent for a while before starting to mutter to himself under his breath. Hatsumi plans to make a break for it the next chance she gets, but her phone is starting to die, so this may be her last posting. Hatsumi was never heard from again. Finn. So, that was the story of Kisaragi Station, as we read it on the Kawabano website. Now we shall move on to Everyone Tolerates the Grammar Inquisitions! At this point. I've got a couple. So, I'm going to start with this one. So, it's Hatsumi. I called my parents to come and pick me up, but they don't know where Kisaragi Station is. So, dialogue, kind of. Typed dialogue on a phone. We've all been there when we've sent a message with bad grammar and typos.
I'm surprised there aren't any like autocomplete penises in here, honestly.
Yeah. But regardless, I think it should be I called my parents.
Fine.
I know. This is gonna become a running thing for my. This is gonna be a running theme for my grammar acquisition, by the way. So on to the next one here. I was so scared that I ended up apologizing to them. So again, see previous statement about the situation of like texting on your phone. But so I looked at it like apologizing. It uses it. It's spelled with an S, and I thought that was weird. Because I've always thought it was like apologizing with a Z. But I decided after like looking at it, I was like, all right, I'm going to actually check this. Like I'm going to actually Google this, apologizing or apologizing, S or Z. So I found out that apologize with an S is actually the British way to say it. And the Z variant is actually the Z variant for the American version of English.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured it was a regional thing.
Yeah. Sort of the issue that comes up with, especially because like there are two types of English: American English and British English. British English. So
then the butchered one that we use, apparently.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then there's like everything in between, and like again, talking about regional dialects, like there's you're just going down a rabbit hole of different things. Honestly, that's every language. Like, I remember hearing that back in like World War II, like in history class, Italians.
You're that old.
No, yeah, no, yeah, I am. But in Italy, the Italian army was having issues because the Italians that were down near the boot of Italy couldn't speak the same Italian as the people in the ankle or at the thigh or at the or not the thigh, but like at the like the calf of the boot. Like it be like it's they're so sometimes languages are so like get isolated into little pockets, and like it shifts and changes to a degree where like somebody a couple of kilometers in a valley nearby doesn't speak the same language as you, but they do.
Is that far removed that they can't even understand each other?
Yeah, or like they can pick out some words, but they're like it's very choppy and it's like hard to understand each other. Again, languages, like that's just the nature of languages. So like we change as like when we separate from each other and like go into different groups, we tend to change the process a little bit. But Yeah, basically, I'm just saying though it's not just English that does this.
Yeah.
So on to the next thing I hear. How come you tell it was an old man with just one leg? I'm sorry. So I think it should be how come you could how come you could tell it was an old man with just one leg?
Just how could you tell?
Yeah, that honestly that fixes it too. I just removed the second U there. But honestly, yeah, how could you tell it was that fixes it 100%. So
I remember tripping over that, but then I just reread over it. I'm like, I understand, and then I moved on. I didn't write it down. I don't know why.
I was gonna like maybe it's because like you typo knees over like text messages all the time.
Yeah,
that's kind of what this is.
That might actually be it.
Yeah, and then my last
I
grammar.
have no grammar.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
None at all.
Yeah, honestly, like again, like I was going down. It's like there's not a whole lot here that aside from these like, except for this like handful that I have. So, and speaking of, this is my last one. Just so I'm ready when needs be, I'm going to make this my last post for now. I think this should be need be, not needs be.
Yeah, it's not a nitpick.
Is it not
it's a regional thing that we don't know
about? I don't know. Like reading it again, like when I read it the first time, I kind of hiccuped over it. I was like, that sounds wrong. And then when I read it again, it's like, just so I'm ready when needs be. It's like that could kind of work. I could see somebody like saying that in dialogue, like saying that, not just typing it. So, but I still feel it should be when need be, because like, oh, like I'm ready when need be. Like that's a phrase that I've heard.
Yeah.
So
never heard needs be.
Yeah. But regardless, that's the end of my grammar inquisition. So, Mikey, the E stands for evil.
Well, I took the approach that this is all dialogue, so I didn't do any grammar inquisitions.
How dare you?
But because this is a show,
and we have a bit.
Yes. I do have a conjunction junction.
All right. And next stop, conjunction junction. Doot, doot.
It might just be my imagination, but do you mind if I talk about something? It's the train I always take to and from work, but it hasn't stopped at any stations for about 20 minutes now. It always stops every 5 minutes, or at most every 7 or 8, but it hasn't stopped at all. It still doesn't look like we're going to stop anywhere, so I'll go and have a look. It's the train from Shin Hamamatsu Station. It looks like we're about to stop. And hang on, your train's been running for an hour now? It's cold out there, so be careful. And it looks like Hasumi's become a resident of the 2D world. It's a station, so there has to be people living around there. But if I follow the railway tracks, I think I can get home. I'll do my best. It's your lifeline right now, and be careful inside the tunnel. And yet, it would probably be safer to spend the night at the station. It's best to return to where you were in the first place when you got lost. It's about to start. It's probably just a festival. It should be closer than you think. It's probably some guy that was hit by a train and lost his leg and then died. It's dangerous. It's too suspicious. Finn.
Okay. Because the train never stops, and she said like earlier, she said like it keeps going. I'm gonna go check. watch out, it's cold outside. And then like suddenly she's talking about like there's houses around her. I just imagine like, but in that space between, she managed to get one of the doors open and just flung herself out of the train
Tuck and
into the
roll.
night. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, tuck and roll. It's like, good thing it's not a bullet train. That would have been really bad.
Yeah.
And then basically it just continued on the story. Like I literally like was sitting here. I was like, all right, empty thoughts about the story that I know so far. Just take in the It story.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Because when there's so many
context,
that
right?
it's actually giving us like it's telling its own story, but it's giving a lot of context. And because we know the story, it's very easy to be like, oh, that's this. But you have to try to forget about that, which is very difficult.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's I've been trying for the last couple of like episodes to like just like empty my head for a moment, not too much because otherwise, like, oh no, like what are we talking about tonight? But like when Mikey starts the It stories, I'd be like, all right, empty out the context. Like the only context I have is the story he's telling.
Yes.
But no, it's just like it really just sounds like she died, running, like jumping out of the train, and now she's like encountering, and now she's encountering ghosts along the track.
Yep.
Because like she saw the old man, so that like she's actually been a ghost the whole time. She's dead.
And the reason why Mikey does these strings of sentences in the story is because he's highlighting all the sentences in the story that start with words that they probably shouldn't, like its, ands, or buts, because there's always better words.
True. However, for this case, we did it for the lulz because this was all text message dialogues, and I mean, like, no one follows the its, ands, or buts rule when they're talking to somebody, because it's a casual conversation in text message form.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny regardless. And so I guess it's on to Gamer.
Yeah, for my 42-part grammar part that I have here. Mm-hmm. So here we go. And I'm done.
Wow, that was very comprehensive, Gamer.
Yeah, I had to dissect every single word. A lot of them were wrong, but it's fine. They know better now.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure anybody who's like wants to like revise the story and like correct it for the corrections will be able to fully understand your comprehensive 3-hour grammar acquisition.
Yeah, sorry it took so long, guys.
It's fine. You know what?
You guys need like a pee break or something?
I mean, yeah, maybe just hang on. There we go.
Okay, good.
I had a bottle on standby.
Nice.
All right. Well, moving on to actual thoughts. So I'm going to start with the very beginning here. The following story was posted on 2chan forums in real time. The original poster, who went by the name Hatsumi, kept readers up to date on her strange experience as it was happening, and received advice from them as to what to do. The following is what happened. So this story, like right from the get-go, like as I was like starting to read this, and then started to read like the dialogue between Hatsumi and the anonymous posters on 2chan, it kind of brought me back to the original Candle Cove story, which is all done as like a forum posting. The original Candle Cove story is done up in a format that is like it's like a forum thread. Mm-hmm. Where like different people are posting about this weird show, that like this weird pirate show from like the 70s.
Right, and they're all responding to it with what they remember about it or stuff like that. Yeah. And
then they're like, wait, that's not. Wait, I thought that was a dream. Like, wait, people like there was just an episode full of screaming. I thought that was a nightmare I had. I was like, whoa, I just got chills. Like, like that kind of thing. So it kind of reminded me that, and it's using this format of like a back and forth like message board or image board style, and for me it was kind of immersive in that regard, because like we're just getting like the raw data, like we're just getting a transcript of a message board basically. So I was here for that because I like that style of storytelling.
But when I read the first paragraph for whatever reason, my mind went to like Law and Order.
Dun dun. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Their little like what was their little like warning or their little like disclaimer at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now something that me and Mikey did bring up like off recording, like right before the show. So there are different iterations of the story. I think I mentioned that at the beginning of this episode. And some people, again, because this is a translation of a Japanese thread online. So some people have gone in and added a little bit extra. There's like a few slight differences between like different iterations, like in terms of like how long Hatsumi was on the train, and before it like finally stopped at Kisaragi station. But there's also like a couple of changes that I think might even have improved this one. Is some people have added like a time stamp of like how long between Hatsumi's postings and like between like her last postings and stuff. So like
that's kind
when
of cool.
Hatsumi, yeah, like when the poster like says something and then like Hatsumi immediately comes back with a response like, yeah, I tried that, like it didn't work, like the guy's not responding at the door. Some people have added like in between that it's like 4 minutes have passed, or like because we do get a couple of scenes in the story where like it's clearly like we're just getting the raw data of this conversation, of this back and forth, but we're not getting like how long it took, because like sometimes like Hatsumi is like suddenly she was in the station and now she's just on the track and she like hurt herself because she may have fallen or something. But it's like, how long did that like because we don't have any time stamps, like we're not sure, like we're just sort of left to assume like there's some time has passed between her postings.
Yeah, because this is meant to be like a copy paste from the message board. Like all that data is on the message board too, isn't it?
Should be, yeah. Most of the time there is. Like if it's anything like I'm not privy to 2chan, but I am privy to 4chan, which is the like sort of an English version of it. And they do like all their like I know 4chan's like whenever you like post something on there are timestamps of when you posted it. So yeah. Also, I gave this a listen. Like after I read the story and took all my notes, I actually decided to give this a listen because I thought I recognized, again, Kisaragi Station is a story that has popped up a couple of times on my radar, and certainly like Japanese like ghost stories or ghost train stories is a common thing actually. It's common enough that I recognize it. I've always thought of it as like almost like a trope in Japanese ghost stories, because like the Japanese like civil culture has like a huge like thing about using like trains and transit infrastructure. So like of course there'd be a ton of ghost stories and urban legends about trains in Japan.
Yeah.
But after I was done like taking my notes and like reading the story, I decided I recognized Kisaragi Station from the show Are You Scared from Watcher on YouTube. Where Ryan Bergara and Shane Madej from the very popular BuzzFeed Unsolved Mysteries series,
He's
they
the
went
guy
ahead
that
and
loses all the time on Puppet History.
yeah, exactly, yeah. It's Ryan. Yeah, Ryan Bergara is the guy who always loses.
Yeah,
but yeah, Ryan started this show where he like reads creepypastas and like other stories online that their producers pull in to Shane, and they commentate on it, kind of like our show a little bit, but they read through a story while commentating. And at the end, they speculate as like, was this real or was fake? Like, what do you think about it? And then the producers tell them if the story was a piece of fiction or if it was something that was posted that was actually like a real account.
Yeah.
And I've there's been a couple of them on there. It's like, oh, that's creepypasta we've done on the show. like I get a little bit of like I get a small smirk and it's like, yeah, no, this is fake. There's been a couple that were like, oh, this is interesting. Ooh, I mean, Smile Dog. they literally did Smile Dog. They did Ted the Caver. So, but regardless, yeah, they did an episode on Kisaragi Station, and I listened to it, and it was that was my my first sort of foray into like, oh yeah, there are different iterations of this. And when I checked on like creepypasta.com, there's an entry for this. There's also one on creepypasta.wiki for Kisaragi Station, and there's again slight modifications because this is a translation from a different language. So, and the person who was translating it added a little bit extra flourish, or changed, or like add a little bit more extra or modifications to the telling of the story. It's sort of like a campfire story, like or like how an urban legend spreads, and like there's always like something slightly different. Somebody always brings something else to the table when they tell the story.
Yep.
So,
by the way,
yes.
on the website that we read this on, I like that there's a view counter.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh.
110,444 views.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Dang. Yeah. And only 3 comments. And I think, if I remember correctly, those 3 comments are like literally just like pingbacks. So like a bot.
Oh.
Yeah, they're just all pingbacks to like different things. So
it's a lot of views.
Mm-hmm. But honestly, like I really kind of dig the Kawabana like website, because it's like I could see myself coming back to this site and like checking out, because like again they translate a ton of like urban legends and ghost stories from Japan, and
like,
they have a whole podcast as well. Yeah. And they talk about different Japanese horror. They have some books out that of their translations. They have a podcast. Like I'm legitimately like interested in checking out this site some more. So I'm glad I found it for anime. But I will move on to my next actual thought. So starting with this is the quote here. Hatsumi, we're stopped at Kisaragi Station, but I wonder if I should get off. I've never seen or heard of this station before. 2chan. You should get off. No, you should stay on until the last stop. I mean, the train should have started moving again by now, shouldn't it? Hatsumi, what time did you get off your train? Hatsumi, I got off. The station is empty. I got on the train around 11:40 p.m., I think. So, if it wasn't clear, as far as I can tell, all the different like lines here, like under 2chan's
naming, the title.
Naming, yeah. Each line is a different person.
Yeah.
Like commenting. And I really like the use here of that, because it gives the feel of multiple people under ambiguity. Like the kind of ambiguity you see online on like forums and message boards and like again 4chan and stuff like that, where they're just somebody posts something like or somebody posts an image, or somebody posts like a weird situation like Hatsumi here, and then they're just bombarded by like a bunch of comments from random people and strangers. Again, it sort of helps encapsulate the sort of chaotic nature of posting on one of these forums. And certainly we get more of that later on in the story. And speaking of, here's another thing I have. So Hatsumi, I'm going to leave the station and see if I can find a taxi. Thanks. 2chan. That's a good idea. Be careful. I'm doubtful that you'll easily be able to find a taxi at an empty station after the last train have already run. And it looks like Hatsumi became a resident of the 2D world. Hatsumi, there's nothing here, let alone a taxi. What should I do? So, again, having that, like, multiple people posting at the same time, like, kind of nature, you get some people that are trying to be helpful, and then you have people that are just commenting, like, randomly, like, and it looks like Hatsumi became a resident of the 2D world. It's like, first off, what the hell's the 2D world? Is that, like, I wonder if that's something, idea. Like, some kind, like, I was almost, like, wondering, like, is that some kind of, like, Japanese, like, term, or like is that some kind of like a cultural thing? Because it sounds like it's like she's been trapped in like maybe she's been trapped in another dimension, or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, so you get that like thing where like people are trying to be helpful, but the other people are just trying to shit post and comment and react to this, like, because they don't really treat it as anything real. And then like Hatsumi's asking for help and such. And getting to my actual thought here, with this quote, I also was kind of getting a vibe of like this is like almost like a mini ARG, like an augmented reality game, where like somebody creates this fictional scenario through a media like a YouTube channel or Twitter feed or a 4chan post or a 2chan post, and they're letting the audience, like the readers and audience, reply back and responding to it, to help like create and build up the fiction that's going on here. Because again, we don't really know if this was actually posted on 2chan. This actually happened. Like these postings actually happened, but we have no idea if Hatsumi was a real person, if her situation was real, or if this person just made this up to create a spooky encounter, a spooky situation to scare people or to like give some people a fun time on their image board. But yeah, to me, I'm kind of treating it as a piece of fiction, and so and I like it because it does kind of remind me of like an ARG system. I've actually the reason I'm following several Twitter handles on that platform is because they're doing this exact kind of thing, where like, hey, I recently started like house sitting at my uncle's place up in the mountains, but I've started seeing this like weird lady by the trees. Can somebody know what's going on? Also, I found these weird eggs broken in and around like my house, and I don't know where they're coming from. And like they'll take photos.
Of a Reddit no sleep title.
Yeah. Oh no. Like these are like it's not all in one shot, but it's like a bunch of like different it's a bunch of different like Twitter posts.
Yeah.
And like he'll post video and even images of a creepy like ghost girl looking person up out in the trees, or like a masked figure is like out in the tree line by the property, or like take photos of like some weird looking eggs with like a skeleton inside of them. And again, like the audience, and what happens is the audience, the readers of on Twitter and stuff like that will go ahead and react to it and commentate, and like they'll get in fiction. Like it's sort of the thing that Reddit No Sleep does. Even actually, now that you bring up Reddit No Sleep, like Reddit No Sleep does that all the time too. Like somebody starts a first part of a story, and then they wait for it to garner a bunch of comments, because on No Sleep you're supposed to react to a story and comment to a story as if it is in world. So like you're never supposed to address it as a piece of fiction.
Yeah.
And then the author will sometimes take the comments and like the advice of the people in the comments and incorporate that into the next part of the story, and then they'll release that, and then they'll like do that. Basically, like they use the input from the commenters to direct the next story, the next installment. And for me, like this story, like the Kisaragi Station story, kind of just comes to mind as a mini ARG, where it's like in a single night, like you do this in a single night, like and just like as a way to creatively like collaborate this story like out of the blue,
in short order,
like just sort of in very short order, like just for the lulz or on a lark, or to just creep out a bunch of people online by like saying that you're doing this, like, but like, and then like at the end, it's like my battery's running low. This will probably be my last post, and then just never post again.
Yeah,
and just like leave those people wondering what the fuck happened to Hatsumi.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that was one of the things, again, like while reading this, that kind of really got me. So, and now onto something that I learned some things while reading the story about Japanese culture. Speaking with this, Hatsumi. Yeah, that's right. I was panicking, so I didn't even notice. I'll follow the tracks back and wait for my parents to call. I tried looking before in the town information part of iMode in my phone, but it came up with some kind of error. I just want to go home. And I was like, iMode? So I Googled iMode, and this is what I got off of Wikipedia. NTT Docomo's iMode is a mobile internet distinct from wireless internet service popular in Japan. Unlike wireless application protocols, iMode encompasses a wider variety of internet standards, including web access, email, and the packet-switched network that delivers the data. iMode users also have access to other various services such as sports results, weather forecasts, games, financial services, and ticket booking. Content is provided by specialized services, typically from the mobile carrier, which allows them to have tighter control over billing. So it's I guess it's like a different kind of internet that that was around like early on in the like the early 2000s around Japan, and it is very popular in Japan for it. And I just I never knew what the hell iMode was, so I learned a little bit about Japan today.
Yeah, we learned a thing. I also had no idea.
Yeah. And also, like nowadays, I was like looking at that stuff, and I was like, well, that's just stuff my phone does already. But it's like I guess back in the day, that's the same kind of thing. Like it was like the early version of what we already have now on like iPhones and smartphones and such. And now I've got a little bit of a story that happened while I was reading the story.
Okay.
I have a story about this story while reading the story. So this is what I was at this point when this thing happened to me. So Hatsumi, there really is nothing around here. All I can see are grasslands and mountains. But if I follow the rail tracks, at that point, at rail tracks, as I was reading the story, I suddenly heard an old cell phone notification ring sound somewhere near me. No fucking joke. It didn't come from my own phone because it was right in front of me, but it sounded like it was coming like from like to the side, like just slightly behind me to my side. And I did like a thorough check around that area and like around me to see like if there was an old like device, because we do have a couple of old like phone devices or like old like computer devices and stuff like that in around where I was reading the story. And I could not find anything that would have caused that noise.
Okay.
So
that's normal.
It was yeah, exactly. It was just like, all right, that's a fucked up. That's fucked up. Moving on.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Jamie didn't find it though, because that would have been.
I know. I
don't know
what it was.
With you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I legitimately don't know where it was, like what it was or where it was coming from. Like I knew it was like in the general area where it came from, but there was nothing electronic there that would have created that sound.
Spooky.
Yeah. But so the next thing I have here, Hatsumi. My father called. He had a lot of questions, but in the end, we have no idea where I am. So he told me to call 110. I don't really want to, but I'm going to give the police a call and see if they can help me. 2chan. I think it would be easier for you to move around once it gets brighter. Could you really wait there all alone at night? It's in some strange, unfamiliar place. Could you pass through the tunnel all alone at night on some strange, unfamiliar railway track? So could you keep walking through some unfamiliar street at night in the cold? So this is again like the commenters like starting to be a little bit asshole-ish.
Yeah.
Or just like narrate, like maybe not even intentionally, just like being shit posters and like commenters in the situation. It's like, did anyone else kind of get the idea that maybe like the commenters here or like some demons have like or something sinister, like maybe the sinister aspect of Kisaragi Station has like intercepted the posting on the message boards that like she's reading. So it's like,
no,
maybe it's being spooked. Well, that was like an idea. It's like, well, maybe these aren't even like shit posters that are like they're like doing this. But at the same time, people do this unintentionally, where they like they just react and post online. They have no filter online.
I don't understand why you keep saying that they're shit posting. It's literally just all these people are attempting to help, and all of them have different ideas, and no one knows what is the right idea.
I don't. A couple of times in a couple of the replies or the comments, like just kind of sounded to me as like shit posting, like just
like
being
the 2D world one.
Yeah, the 2D world. But this one even like to me, like this one also might just be unintentionally like kind of assholish to me because it's just like they're just all these comments are doing is just ramping up the anxiety of Hatsumi. Like certainly if I was in that situation, these are the last things I'd want to hear because they'd be or the last things I'd want to read is because like they just help like fuel my own anxiety of the situation I'm in.
I mean, I guess,
Like-
but again, it's the way I saw it is just it's a bunch of people that all have their own different ideas of what she should do. So when someone says do something else, someone says, "Could you really do that?" It is kind of weird that they're all responding the exact same way, being like, "Could you really do this? Could you really do that? Could you really do this other thing?"
Actually, that I've seen that happen a couple of times online where like somebody will just like they'll like a bunch of different people will just mimic the like if they'll latch on to something like
Yeah, and they'll
like
start chaining
could you
it.
really yeah exactly they'll just start exactly what it is, it's chaining it. It's like they just like they'll just slightly change it but they'll use the same kind of manners like could you really pass through that wall, could you really kill a baby,
Could you really shut the fuck up?
yeah exactly that should have been the last comment like could you guys all really just shut the fuck up, we're trying to help her.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Honestly, that's kind of the thing I got from this was like it like they're kind of unintentionally or intentionally like creating undue anxiety on Hatsumi. At least if I was in that situation, I'd be getting anxiety.
Yeah.
From these kind of comments. And that's what we like to call today doom scrolling, where you're just checking out horrible shit on social media and like negative comments on social media, and you just can't help but keep reading them as you scroll down.
Scrolling.
Yeah, it's actually a term now.
Oh, okay.
For on social media, when you're just like the social like the all the comments and like all the articles and like posts that are popping up are all like negative shit.
You just can't.
And you're just you just can't stop yourself from just like you can't like just leave that social media. You end up just scrolling down the shit pile.
I actually accidentally ran into that sort of thing like yesterday, oddly enough. Not through like Twitter or whatever. I learned about a remake. I don't want to point fingers or name names, but I learned about a remake of a game that came out that I was really excited for, and it was free and everything. But like the one person on the team, like, was posting all these messages of how like this, like the lead designer is like a racist and like an asshole.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh man, but now it's making me feel like shit. Yeah, but like I keep scrolling, but like, wow, this other guy really is an asshole.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, you know what? I even I did the same thing. I think actually yesterday too, or something similar, where I didn't want to, but I was like, you know what? I was reading a story, or reading a novel, and I was like, I was really getting into it. It's like, I should see if the author here is an asshole.
That's your first thing.
Because
I really like this.
No, it's not.
This guy's not a dick.
Well, because like I was really getting into it. Like I was like planning on like getting the next book and like maybe even like checking out the other series that he's come out with, and it's like I should really see that he's not like a turf or an asshole like that, like somebody who's like really like transphobic or like a shithead. Just because like I don't want to support somebody like that, and like that's a thing that's been coming up a lot lately online. Like, and I hate it. Like I hate the fact that that was my go-to. Is like I should check to see if this person's an asshole. It's like it's sort of like Pandora's box, or like because like I know as soon as I encounter, I'm going to then have to either separate the story from the author, or just not read the stories anymore.
Yeah, it's a shame
as soon as I find something
that can ruin it. And we've run into that multiple times with certain things like game systems and such.
Yeah,
or entire IPs. Again, I don't want to name names, but you either have to not look that shit up, ignore it, or just move on.
Yeah, or accept that the person was an asshole. Like, again, I fully have accepted that Lovecraft was a complete racist, bigot piece of shit.
Yes.
But I still love the mythos, like the Cthulhu mythos, because it is so much bigger than Lovecraft. Like, nowadays, like there are so many other really much better authors out there that are telling stories in the Cthulhu mythos.
Mm.
And even Lovecraft's original stories are still engaging and still interesting to me, but I just have to accept the fact that the guy was a douchebag.
Well, he's also we've talked about this before.
And he's also like
He's a
decades into the ground.
well,
But,
yeah, like he's a product of his time kind of deal. But we've talked about this before, and you've countered me before saying even with that context, he is more racist and more of an asshole than most were back then.
Yes. Also, he's not getting any royalties from his stuff, so I don't feel as bad about like reading his stuff or like checking out the stuff because like he's not getting any royalties. Nobody in his family's getting any of the royalties because he didn't believe in copywriting his stuff or trademarking it. Mm-hmm. So, but regardless, like it's something that you have to like. It's a shame when you find out that one of like somebody who created something that you like is an asshole, and an utter piece of filth. You either have to remove that from your life, like to not support that anymore, or you have to just come to terms with that and try and separate the content from the creator.
Yep.
Which, yeah.
At the end of the day, you're liking the content for the content, not for the person who made the content.
Exactly.
We should move on from this because we'll talk about this forever.
Yeah, we're literally doom scrolling ourselves.
Wow, we are.
Oh man. So yeah, moving on.
Please.
So the next thing here, Hatsumi. I asked where we are, but he just said Hina. There's no way that could be true though. 2chan. Hatsumi, get out of the car. I'm sorry, Kitsumi. Where is Hina? What a strange story. So at this particular time, some suspicious old guy just happened to be there to pick up a girl walking along the railway tracks. What was he doing? Hatsumi. We've started getting closer to the mountains now. I don't think there's anywhere for the car to stop, and he stopped talking to me entirely. And at this point I was like, God, this whole section here is like a roller coaster ride. Like even like for me as a reader, because it's like Hatsumi goes through the tunnel, getting away from the drums and the disappearing old man with the one leg, and like all the creepiness of that. Exits the tunnel, meets this other old man, gets into his car because he'll take him to, he'll take her to safety, and then that's when that guy starts acting kind of weird and suspicious, and like she's trapped in this car with this guy. And he's taking her somewhere that like she doesn't think is a good place.
Mm.
And it's just like reminding me of like a horror movie where like they have a fake out ending where like you think the characters are safe, but then it turns out, no, they're fucked.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Also, I looked it up and it looks like Hina means, so first off in Japanese, Hina means sun or light. It also is the name of a station in Shizuoka Prefecture on the Gakunin. I'm going to apologize for any misreadings of these words. I am not a Japanese speaker.
Shocker.
But yeah, so it's a station on the Gakunin railway line in the city of Fuji. I also checked Shin Hamamatsu Station, since that was Hatsumi's starting point at the beginning of this.
Mm-hmm.
Using Google Maps and the train directions, it's about a 2-hour ride between the two locations. But there's no direct rail line between the two spaces. Like you have to like get off of trains several times, walk 2 minutes or walk a couple of minutes to another train and get on that one and to continue the train line.
Still, they're not that far away. I'm kind of shocked. No. I was expecting them to be across the freaking country from each other.
Yeah, no, they're actually in the same. They're actually in the same region. Like Hina and Shin Hamamatsu. Like they're both. I think she said in this story like she was. It was in. Didn't she say in this story that it was in Shizuoka Prefecture? She bring up a prefecture?
I don't know.
I can't remember now. Damn it. I'm quickly checking the story. Yeah, she mentions the blinds or something are covering the window, so I can't see the driver. I'm on a private railway in Shizuoka Prefecture. So yeah, so it is all in the same like region. Now, yeah, she does mention like she's surrounded by grasslands and like mountains, and there are areas between the 2 points, like Shin Hamamatsu and the Hina station, where the area, like again, Google mapping it, like going down and looking along the trail line, like the train lines. There are spots that seem very rural, but it's all along like a coastal region. Like there are mountains farther out, like deeper into the interior of the region. And there's also a lot of city sprawl, just kind of dotting the track between there. Like it's like basically like small cities pop up here and there, and like the rural areas are like she would easily be able to find her way back to a city.
Yeah.
Along one of the tracks, if it was a normal track, of course. It seems like she's slipped into like a liminal zone, where like a liminal space where like this isn't exactly the real world, because like no one knows where it exists. So yeah, that was my my adventures in Google mapping, based on the information we had. So that's the end of my actual thoughts. So Mikey, D stands for evil.
Continuing on the thought that the posters are evil, the suggestion of telling her to go through the tunnel is actually pretty bad advice in case there's another train.
Yeah.
They have headlights.
Regardless, like I've literally seen footage, like video footage, like compilations of like top 10 like scariest videos you've seen online of some dumb kids walking through a train tunnel, and then they like one of the guys in the back just starts like shouting and running, and then you start hearing the train like honking its horn, and you can see the lights, and they have no space between like the wall of the tunnel and where the train's going to come. So like they can't just flatten themselves at the tunnel. They have to run. And they just manage to outrun the train before it comes careening through like out the exit of the tunnel.
Yeah, that was one thing I was going to ask. Like, how much room do you really have in a tunnel? Apparently not much.
Yeah, like most of the time, not a whole lot. There might be like the odd like alcove, like a utility alcove. If it is serviced a lot, like if the tunnel is serviced a lot, they might do that. But most of the time, I think it's like just a very small window or a very small space between the actual train and the wall of the tunnel.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you just don't want to go through an active train tunnel on foot. It's just it's asking for trouble.
We'd also have no story if she did everything right.
I mean, true. I mean, there's a chance if she'd stayed on the train, she might have just ended up going all the way to hell. So, the end of the train line is I mean, I've heard it in I'm not even sure. Maybe it's just like part stories like that have popped up from Kisaragi Station, or like just Japanese ghost stories in general. But like I've heard of that, and even like in North America, like there's ghost stories of trains that just take you to hell, or like the subway station, like the subway train. You never leave. You wait till the end of the line, and the end of the line is literally hell. So it's like, yeah, that just seems to be like a common trope in ghost stories and spooky stories that involve a train.
Yeah, and then in this story, I sort of like the fact that there's sort of an air of mystery, like where are all the people, and why is there no one in this station, or just in the general area, and there's no way for her to contact really anyone, and except for the people on the internet, because the police don't believe her,
Yeah. And her parents can't find her. Even like that. I do like how like the phone is her like window to back to reality or back to normality. And even and like or like it's her one like lifeline. Like it literally is her lifeline in the story.
They straight up say that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we don't get in this story, and that's what's good about it. Like we're left to fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this example, less is more. But I know in previous stories that we've done, we want more and more detail. Like, tell us more.
Yeah, I think it's because of the medium or like the format of this story that helps it, like because it's a limiting format. Because it's just posts from it's a back and forth of postings. So we aren't like I think in this situation we're a little bit more lenient, or at least me and Mikey are a little bit more lenient. I'm not sure. I don't know. We haven't heard from Gamer yet on his stance on it. But for me, like, and for Mikey, I think we're a little bit more lenient on this situation because it's immersive that way. Like it makes sense in context of like this girl. She's scared and like all alone in this place, except for through her phone. And so she's just trying to get as like what information she can, or what she's like, what has been asked of her by the people that are commenting. So yeah, I can agree with you on that one, Mikey.
And that's the end of my actual thoughts.
All right, Gamer, do you want to start off with your your view, your opposition on that, or did you have a different view on that?
I don't recall if I had a specific note on that specifically.
Okay.
In regards to like the immersion of it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't have a problem with it. I agree with you guys.
Okay. I was like, sweat drop.
Yeah. Giant anime like sweat drop right beside your head.
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
Yeah. As soon as I started, first thing I had to do was learn what the hell 2chan was, because I had no idea. Mm-hmm. Is it just me, or does it seem like the way that they're responding, it's almost like instant messaging? Like it's really quick. Like I'm not one that goes on forums all the time and sits there and waits for responses and everything. The way that I've always viewed forums is like you put a message out and you go about your day and you just check on it when you can. But this is like instant. Mm-hmm. So it's almost feeling more like a group instant message situation.
So this isn't a forum. Like I understand.
It basically is though, isn't it?
It is. It is and it isn't. It's sort of a mix between. So what an image board is online is it's sort of a mix between a forum and instant messaging. It's somewhere in between, like, because it's a public instant messaging, like platform.
Okay, so it is what I assumed
anybody.
It was.
I guess, yeah. Like it's, but like it's where you can, you can post images instantaneously and people can react, and like because it's like anybody can access this and like have an app for it on their phone, or have their browser out at any given time. They get notifications that something's been dropped, or they can see it, and they just immediately reply under anonymous. And it isn't until like they can change. They can also like change their name when they go in, so they don't appear as anonymous. They appear as a username. So hence why we got like Hasumi and some of that versus the rest of the anonymous people that are in 2chan.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Like, so like, yeah, basically like it is like instant messaging where like people are just already on their phone, like, or like people are on their phone or on their computers, like typing in and commenting to things live as it goes. It's almost like the chat of a Twitch stream,
yeah,
or like a YouTube channel, like a live YouTube channel sort of thing.
That's cool.
And a lot of this stuff ends up getting like, because it's sort of like a non-stop. It's kind of like Discord in a way, even too, because like like in that, like, it's again just this constant stream of postings that just doesn't end, and then like sometimes I think for the most it does get archived online, but people also like screen cap like an entire like thread. Like that's a lot of early creepypastas come from 4chan and 2chan, and where people have just like screen capped an entire like thread of postings that somebody like a single person posted a story in a series of comments. Like a lot of the Skinwalker stories, the early Skinwalker stories, or like Slenderman stories, or even like The Rake came out of 4chan, and were just like a series of postings that somebody dropped, telling a story, but like in multiple postings.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah. When I was reading this and it was going like Hasumi and then 2chan, I assumed that basically the story just grouped a whole bunch of usernames together into just 2chan, because we don't necessarily need to know the names of 15 people that are responding to this. You just kind of group them together. Although based on your context, it's probably just because they're all using the anonymous kind of basic thing, maybe.
I think it's actually both of us, because I honestly don't think you're wrong at all. Like the way you're describing it, like that's exactly what it did. It just did away with like anonymous 1, anonymous 2, anonymous 3.
Yes.
Like it didn't give us the again, I've seen it actually in other. I've last night when I was doing a deeper dive of the story, I did find stories that had they actually separated the different text lines of the different anonymous posters. This one, though, the version that we did seems to have like just grouped them all up for the sake of convenience. Like they're all just anonymous 2chan posters.
Yes. And I do like that, because having a whole bunch of names is unnecessary.
Yeah. I actually do have a small comment on that related. What did you think about the italics?
Where?
On the names, like Hatsumi and 2chan.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
I didn't notice because because I cannot see italics most of the time. That's fine. That's
fair,
fine though.
Yeah.
It should be bold because I think they'll actually stand out, but it's fine.
Yes.
Or underlined.
Yeah. I think bold would have worked. Or bold and italics, just like if you want to keep the italics. But yeah, I remember when I was like pulling this for like my
brackets. Yeah, please continue.
For my brackets would also work. Yeah. Or even like 2chan or Hatsumi semicolon.
Yeah.
Just to like again to build that. Yeah, I just like as soon as I saw the italics, I was like, wonder if Gamer's gonna have something to say about that.
That being said, I don't hate that they're italiced out. I just hate italics because they're hard to notice. For example, I didn't notice.
And I think in this case, the reason why we're being lenient about it is because there is an extra step on top of the italics. It's not just like Hatsumi italics and then immediately goes into like non-italics, like what she's saying. Yeah. It's Hatsumi italics, but then drop to the next line and her dialogue.
Yeah, if it was all in one line, I'd be screaming.
Oh, yeah. Your eyes would be you'd just be like squirting blood out of your eyes.
Yeah. Again.
Just
But no, that's fine.
Yep.
Then move on to this next part where Hasumi says, yeah, like you said, it's possible I got on the wrong train. I'll wait out a bit longer. If anything else weird happens, I'll come back again. First off, I don't remember what the context is for that on come back again. Oh, as it just back to the message board? Okay, either way. So I don't train very often.
You're not trained?
No, I'm really not. But wouldn't they have like signage on the inside saying which train it is and its route? I've been on like a train before, I believe, and it had like a little map saying where it goes.
Some of them do. I I know the ones. The thing that comes to mind. Like again, I've been on probably more trains than you, but not a lot more. Like I've taken some. I have taken some some like 4-hour trains to like Montreal and such. And if I recall correctly, again, it's been a hot minute. There's sometimes signage, but most of the time it's either like a sort of an animated sign that like will like digitally say like what the next stop is, or somebody will pop up on the speakers and say what the next what the next station is, and or how far it is from the train.
Okay, so either way, they notify passengers.
Yeah.
It's not just a silent train ride with no signs or nothing, or talking from the the train conductor or nothing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm almost half tempted to like Google the inside of a Japanese train.
Well, I'm gonna do it if you're not.
I'm already doing it too. Interesting. Yeah, it might not necessarily have any kind of signage. Aside from like
this first picture adverts. I see is a whole bunch of signage.
Signage, okay, yeah. Well, the first one I pulled up, I didn't see anything. But then the next one I see near the doors, there looks like there's like signage for like a timetable or like the route.
Yeah,
but
and a lot of the signage is actually ads.
Yeah, exactly. Like a lot of the time, that's what they do. Like I know that like
Pikachu train.
Like, yeah, you didn't know about that?
That's adorable. No.
Yeah, it looks like there may or may not necessarily be a lot of signage that we expect. It might just be.
From what I've seen, like there's there's these like really fancy ones that have absolutely no signage, obviously, because they're for fancy people. And then there's the commoners train that has signage and ads all over the place.
Yeah, the public transit trains. Yeah, yeah, it's hard to say. Like again, because it would have to be either like they'd have to have like I imagine they'd either have a map, and again, like depends on like. I imagine if it was there, like maybe she should have pointed out that like there's no train map or there's no like rail map or anything like that, or maybe because it's like a private rail that she's taking, it's different.
Oh yeah, she did say it's a private rail, so it's probably not the like commuter one. It probably is a fancier one.
Or because it's also like taking her out into the rural part of it. So like maybe it's just relying on like the conductor to like say what the next train station sign is, or what the next station is. But like because the train station guy is like either a ghost or just not replying or not even there, and the train itself is just moving itself. Maybe there just is it just stops at spots, and then like people get out when they see the correct station.
I'll say this though, a little bit of a missed opportunity with the signage of just like the standard commuter train, because that could be a lot of stuff that she brought up that's weird that people don't understand. Like, because she could say this map is not right. It's different from before and after I got out of the tunnel or something like that, you know?
Oh God. Yeah. Like because like sometimes these trains don't have lights, like internal lights, or they don't have very good internal lights. So like when they go through a tunnel, it's completely dark. And then as soon as they get through the tunnel, like the darkness like recedes, and the sign is different from when it entered the tunnel.
Yeah.
That could be really cool. I'm also a little. I'm going to straight up just like admit that I'm stealing this from Shane Madej, but I'm surprised that she didn't like ask or like bug any of the people, any of the other the 5 passengers that are in the train.
Yeah, I guess she was just trying to be polite.
Yeah, honestly, like that might have been it. Like people tend to like I'd imagine like maybe she's just a really polite person. Or maybe there's some kind of faux pas in Japanese culture on like waking somebody up and like bothering them.
She was apologizing to the police.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe she's a really polite person, just didn't want to like bug somebody over like what she thought at the time might have just been like not maybe not even a non-issue.
Mhm.
Even though she goes to the conductor's door and like no one's replying, the little like window thing is shuttered, and didn't even try opening the door. But again, she's a very polite person, maybe too polite for her own good.
Yeah, that got her killed.
Yeah, or got her sent to hell.
Mhm.
Who knows?
This Pokemon train is so yellow. I have to stop looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't know about it earlier. There's a Pikachu airplane too, right?
My God. Did you take the Pikachu airplane to the Pikachu train?
No.
Damn it.
I think it's. I just remember I remember there being a Pikachu plane back in like the 90s, like in the heyday of Pokemon. Because I saw it like I saw it on a YTV special. Anyway,
I feel like we're getting off.
that is not this. We're not talking about planes. We're talking about trains.
Sorry, I had to Google the Pikachu plane because you told me about it. I've seen it. I can move on. Okay. Where the hell am I?
Where the hell am I?
All right. Oh yeah, my next one is just what the hell is the Resident of the 2D world? I don't understand that. We didn't really fully figure that out.
Yeah, I'll admit I probably should have like looked up, like seen if there's some kind of thing, or maybe it's just like it might be a translation thing where like it's supposed to, like maybe in Japan like they like that's what they call like another dimension or another like an alternate universe. Because I've seen a lot of stuff, and also the story does kind of like tell it in its story, but I've seen a lot of stuff around the story of like this is a train that goes to another dimension or like another space or goes to hell sort of thing. The Kisaragi train. So
yeah,
but yeah, it's no. I don't think any of us looked it up.
Well, I did. I did a couple of searches, but like not a whole lot.
You didn't find it?
Shows up.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's also like similar to like the comment that somebody did where like she's heard like that there's a video game based on Kisaragi Station.
Yeah, and I tried looking that up and didn't really get too much either.
Yeah. Which I'm surprised because like this is a pretty widespread like urban legend or creepypasta online. I'm surprised there isn't one like more recent that's popped up, like a train simulation, train simulator, Kisaragi Station.
It's a Halloween DLC for Train Simulator.
Oh my god, it should fucking be.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
like a walking sim.
Yeah, there's a game on Steam called like The Ghost Train. That's like what comes up when you try to search for this.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And yeah, it's like a Japanese horror train simulator situation.
Sweet. I might have to take a look at it.
Anyway, I understand that. We're moving on. Okay, now this is the part with the bleeding, everything. I'll just read that little section. Sumi says, I can't walk anymore, but I also can't run. The sound of the drum is getting closer. 2chan says, just wait for the morning. Once it gets brighter, it won't be scary. Should have gotten back on the train. Sumi says, I'm still alive. I fell over and I'm bleeding, but I'm still holding on to the heel I broke. I don't want to die yet. And 2chan responds to that saying, well, it's not like things are going to get any better if you stayed in the one spot anyway. So, the first question is, what the hell just happened? And my second question is, why is no one questioning that she's bleeding and talking about, like, she's still alive as if something horrible just happened? Like, no one responds to this at all.
Yeah, I don't know why my go-to is to counter you, try and counter you. Like, I don't mean
That's
to.
my default, too. It's like, fine. For the show.
But like, no, I'm trying to like devil's advocate, I guess, is what I try to do with this. But like, so part of it here is like, maybe because like these are all a bunch of strangers, they don't have like they may just like have a disconnect to like the person that's posting this. And some of them might like, but like, my go-to like
that they're responding though is because they're trying to help her.
Yeah.
So why aren't they concerned? Like, she straight up says, I don't want to die yet. And the dude responds by saying, well, it's not like things are going to get any better if you stayed in the one spot anyway. Like, completely ignoring what she just said.
Yeah, like I'm surprised I will say I'm surprised there's not like at least even one comment. There's like, oh my gosh, are you okay? What happened?
Yeah, no one cares.
How'd you fall? Why'd you fall?
Yeah, timestamp
Did
would
you
help
slip?
too
Like,
on this situation.
yeah. The timestamp would definitely have helped in this situation.
I'm assuming what happened is she was just walking along the train track in her heels, and she tripped on one of the boards and fell and broke the heel of her shoe and like scuffed up her knee.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what happened, but it's not said. And she says, I'm still alive and I don't want to die yet. So something happened and no one cares aside from me.
Well, yeah, and
Well,
me.
I mean the 2chan people.
Oh yeah, the 2chan people. Yeah. I'm like, I can see why she's like. Part of me can understand why she's like saying like I don't want to die yet, because like she's at this point she's probably like terrified because like you when you realize you're lost or you don't know how to get back home, like I don't know about you, but like I immediately kind of start getting anxiety over like, oh my god, I'm dead. I'm never gonna see my family again. Blah blah blah. Like my mind starts racing with like negative like fearful thoughts.
It doesn't really affect me because I can always just hack myself back home with my power glove.
Oh, clearly, yes. Yeah. But so I can kind of get why she's like saying like I don't want to die yet. Is like it's probably just more or less like her fear of like being in this situation and stuff like that. And like I guess like you said, like yeah, she probably just like when she was walking along the tracks, she like her heel broke when she and she tripped over the tracks and she's bleeding because a lot of the time with train tracks and stuff they put like really kind of just like they put like a layer of rock, like really rough rock, or even like slag bits all along the base of the train and like around the train. So like she probably like fell and cut herself on one of those jagged rocks,
or banged her knee on the actual rail.
Yeah, banged her on the rail itself or the gravel. Like there's any number of reasons like when she fell that she could have gotten cut. Or could be bleeding.
A single reason would be nice.
Yeah, because like originally my go-to is like she's been attacked by something. It's like no, she probably just fell.
Honestly, because of the I'm still alive and I don't want to die yet, I think she was attacked by something. But again, she's so nice and doesn't want to bother people that she doesn't want to worry all the random people on 2chan any further than they already are.
Damn, it has to be you're too pure for this world. That's why you're in the next. Yeah. That's why you end up on the train to the next world.
To the secret world.
Yes, of legends.
The second world, or the 2D world. The Tude world. Yeah. It's not 2D, it's Tude.
Tude, Geotude.
Nice.
Sorry.
We have to get away from Pokemon.
Has some attitude. Is that where Attitude City comes from? Sorry.
We can only hope. But I'll move on.
Yes.
This part we sort of talked about, where 2chan's saying, let's just pray the sound... Sorry, this is talking about the sound she's hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And 2chan says, well, let's just pray that sound isn't the sound of an approaching train. Having said that, it's probably too late for that now. Hisumi says, I did my best, and I'm somehow in front of the tunnel now. So, for me to response to that, too late for what, first off? I get that they're kind of insinuating like a train coming to hit her, but she's in front of the tunnel now. She's not even in it yet.
I think, but the sound's coming from behind her, so maybe like they're like, and she's too afraid to look back. So it's like, no, Hasumi, look back because it's probably a train coming directly at you, or coming in from behind.
Well, no, all these 2chan people specifically, repeatedly tell her don't look back.
Yeah, I know,
because reasons.
Well, I think that might be again. I'm not entirely sure, but it sounds like it might be like something like based on my like limited Japanese exposure to like their folklore and like horror and stuff like that. Like it might just be like maybe a thing that happens like like when you're in a horror story, or when you're in like a situation where like there's weird supernatural shit, don't look back at the thing.
Oh my god, you know what happened? You know
What?
how in horror movies, when like the girl is running away and then she looks back and she trips over something and bangs up her knee and breaks her heel?
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
Oh my god. This is a horror movie.
She looked back and that's what happened.
This is legitimately horror movie tropes. Like this entire story is just like all like slasher movie tropes. The slasher is just the old man with the one leg. Now, okay, here's a question about the old man with the
Thomas the Tank Engine. Creepypasta.
Oh, that is fucking terrible. You laugh at that? Like, I've seen some video games that pop up, some indie video games that pop up. Yeah, it's so fucking terrifying. Yeah. Like, he's got spider legs. Here's a question I want to ask all of you, the two of you, Mikey and Gamer. When you read the part where it's like the old man with one leg before he disappeared, how did you envision the old man with one leg?
Standing there, balancing on one leg.
Okay. My go-to was that it was a guy with crutches and one leg. Like, I didn't immediately go. It was a second later that I went to like, well, maybe it's a guy like hopping on one leg, coming after her. But like, yeah, I immediately thought like I kind of almost immediately thought of a World War like veteran who's like lost like an amputee with like crutches and like in a Japanese military attire for some reason. Like that was my go-to.
Considering he disappears immediately after, he's a straight up ghost. So it doesn't matter that he doesn't have a leg. He may have lost that, as the commenter said, like due to a train accident here or something. That's why he's dead, maybe. But his ghost would just be walking around normally, just with one leg.
Oh, that would be so. I think that is so much worse than like if he was hopping or like if that he's like walking with one leg that you can see, and then clearly an invisible leg that is not there. Yeah, it's literally a phantom leg. Oh, that's so fucked up to me.
Yeah.
Like, and you can see like where the train like cut the leg, like so it's like the pants are just like ripped at like a certain point, and like there's like viscera or blood and or gore like right around the stump. Oh god, and he's just walking like he's still got both of them. Like that's fucked up. That's so fucked up.
Wish it was explained, because you could get anything from a guy standing there normally, a guy standing there with crutches, a guy hopping there, or the creepiest option of him acting like he doesn't have a lost leg.
Mm-hmm. Mikey, you were very quiet. Did you have an alternative view on that?
No, just a guy with one leg, and he disappears. So it's like, is he really there?
Yeah.
In that moment.
How did you view him though? Just balancing on one leg, or with crutches, or what?
Balancing on one leg.
Gotcha.
Fair enough.
Yeah, as soon as he was talking about the one-legged man, I immediately had flashbacks to Muppet Treasure Island with I forget who said it. Oh, the like uncle that dies at the start. And he's like, the one-legged man brings death.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what happens.
You know, it's sad. Yeah, no, it's true. It's Long John Silver.
Oh my god! Did you see what Aaron just posted just now in the D&D chat? Just now.
So for the audience and for Mikey, he our friend Captain Solanum, or Aaron, on One Less Die, posted a meme of what the players think will happen. And it's like this like really cool piece of art of like a swashbuckling pirate thing. And then like the thing underneath it is what the DM knows will happen. And it's a scene from Muppet Treasure Island.
When they're all singing about cabin fever.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I was about to say, like, I was literally like seconds away from saying before you like shouted that. You know what happened? You know, as soon as you brought up Muppet Treasure Island, I was immediately going to reference Cabin Fever.
Yeah. My God.
Wow. That was so
he's
good.
A wizard.
He is the meme wizard.
Hmm.
Goddamn. Okay. Moving on.
Wow, I'm flabbergasted by that. What were we talking about?
The old man with the one leg.
Yeah, he's creepy. Moving on. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Hasumi says, like, I'm doing my best. I'm in front of the tunnel now. The name says Isanuki. The sound is getting closer. I'm going to gather up all my courage to try to get through. I'll post again once I get through safely. And Tuchan says, good luck. And someone else says, this is the end. The train and the station are gone. You can't go back. There's no one to follow. The sound you hear is a phantom of your own past. Run towards the tunnel. If you stop, you'll just be stuck between worlds. So, and this guy keeps responding like this dude who absolutely knows exactly what's going on. And he does not explain himself, and no one questions this guy with his apparent, like, I know exactly what's going on knowledge.
Yeah.
And I found that weird.
I kind of like it because it's like the one guy who knows all the answers is getting drowned out by all the other commenters.
A little bit.
Like, I kind of like, no, wait, you gotta do this. I was like, oh, lol, fuck that. Just go do it. Like, just turn around. It's probably a festival.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I kind of, it is kind of weird that like no one's addressing it, but it's also kind of like fun or like the horror angle because it's like the answers are there, but they're getting like drowned. He's like Hatsumi's probably just passing over that because of all the other things that are being posted.
Mm-hmm. The sounds of it, though, he's right, and he may be the villain in this whole situation.
Either the villain or like just somebody who's in the know of this, like this sort of like maybe they know that he knows something about this weird Kisaragi station.
Why wouldn't he try?
Because
I found Kisaragi station. I know what this is about. Do this, this, and that. I know these things. Instead of just being like saying the things without any setup to it.
Yeah, hard agree. Like in the real world, hard agree. But with my like horror movie like mind, he's literally just crazy Joe saying that the camp has a death curse as he rides off on his bike away.
Yeah.
like he's that person in a horror movie that like tries to warn the victims in the most like obtuse way like doesn't give any context, doesn't say like hey, hang on, before you go to that creepy cabin up in the woods, let me just say like there's something supernatural going on there. My parents were went up there once and like they never came back, and when I did some research like I explained the whole situation and like just get the victims to go away. But like because of the way they try to get the information out in a cryptic way to be cryptic for reasons, the story continues on with the person not heeding those warnings.
That being said, she absolutely heeds this person's warnings because she does exactly what this guy says. She was already doing that, honestly.
Yeah, and well, also to be fair, like a bunch of other commenters were also doing it in a less cryptic way. Just like, yeah, go through the train tunnel, like go back the way you came.
Thinking of it in like a realistic situation, like you came out there, so go back there. And while this guy's like, you're in a different universe, and the tunnel is the doorway between this universe and the other one. And
yeah, because like
he said that exactly.
I gotta wonder. Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly, and honestly, that seems to be the general consensus online of like what the train, where the train is, and like what's going on. So like, it's probably because that was there. Is like a lot of people like kind of just latch to that as the explanation.
Yeah. That's the only one we got.
Yeah, it's not that like she just accidentally took the wrong private train out into the boonies of Japan, and like there happens to be an abandoned ghost town, like an abandoned town nearby that like it stops at for like the one hermit that lives out there, who is the old guy, with one leg, who's just telling the girl like who happened to be on one of his walks, saw that there's this girl like walking along the train tracks. It's like, hey miss, you're not supposed to go on there. And then like he just like she just started running. What we're not hearing from Hatsume is like she immediately started running away from him, and so he disappeared into the gloom of the night.
Yeah, or
like, out of view.
Or he lives in the tunnel, and all of a sudden there's this woman walking through the tunnel like hobbling a little bit because she
Yeah.
hurt herself, and he's like, "Oh fuck, what the hell is that?" And he's actually scared of her, so he just like hides in one of the little side areas and just lets her go past.
Yeah. She does say that, like, at the end, like when she gets out of the tunnel, it's like, oh my god, there's a person like up ahead. Thank God. Like, I'm probably gonna look like a monster to them because of all like my makeup and
Yeah,
stuff.
so
Smeared.
absolutely the guy was just
Oh
scared.
my god, this is just all like mundane, like just weird, poor coincidences.
Yeah. The guy at the end of the tunnel was
except
just
for the
like
fact,
waiting for like a drug deal to happen or something, or he just dropped off a body
Yeah.
that he murdered. Something
yeah,
horrible.
exactly. Yeah, like they mentioned, it's like, yeah, he just like dropped a body out
Yeah.
there. It's like, hello, miss, do you need a ride somewhere? You're enough away from anywhere. Did you happen to see what I was doing a second ago? No? Oh, yeah, I wasn't doing anything. Excellent. Yes, let's go to the next train station where there's a business hotel. We'll sure go there. And
He
then I'm
twiddles
just
his
going to take you to
long mustache.
mustache. Yeah. And then that's what he's muttering. It's like, all right, so I'll go down this road, the old mountain road, and then just dump her body off the edge.
What were you saying? Nothing. It's fine.
No, nothing. And then no. He's like, what were you saying? He just remains silent for the rest of the car ride.
That's weird.
Also, I did like. I think. Does it say in the story, like somebody commented, like it's like he's not talking or anything? It's like it's probably because you're on your phone. Like
Yes.
you're just talking on your phone.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah,
I like that part.
because like legitimately, that is something that like a lot of people do when like they're in an awkward situation. They just revert to their phone.
Kids these days.
As a false sense of safety and security.
Yeah, and speaking of the guy at the end, actually, 2chan is like constantly telling Hasumi to not interact with this guy, like even before they get in the car. And Hasumi just keeps sending more messages back to 2chan, but outright ignores all of their help, which is weird because until now she's been listening and responding to their help. At this point, she's just straight up ignoring them.
Well, yeah, I wonder how much of that is Hasumi like just being relieved because she's actually there. Like she's not near where all these people are. Like all these people are like, no, don't go there. Like we've seen this movie. You're gonna die. You're the first kill. But like that kind of like because that's kind of what it reminded me of. Like all their comments, like, no, don't trust this guy. It's like, listen, 2chan posters. Like Hatsumi's been through a night. Like I don't blame her. I mean, it's probably foolish that she's like just immediately like befriending this person, but I don't blame her for like wanting to cling to like any kind of shred of hope
she's seen in hours.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't want like I could understand. I don't entirely agree with it, but I can understand her acceptance of this person that's here because it's the first person she's seen in hours. It's like that shred of hope, like that she's clinging to.
Yeah. That was the second part I had written down here. Is like maybe this weird demon guy has her in some trance, or she firmly believes that she's safe and she's ignoring all of the red flags because it's finally a person.
Yeah, or she's just too polite, so she's just like she's like, and because she's in that situation, she's just like too polite. She's just ignoring the commenters that are warning her out of politeness for this man.
She can't say no. Yeah.
Yeah, she's just ghosting. She's politely ghosting. She's so polite, she's ghosting the commenters.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the end of my notes.
Okay. So I suppose this is on to final thoughts then. So I thought this was actually pretty creepy in the situation and worked really well with the limits of the media it's using, like the image board, the message board formatting. To tell this sort of mini ARG style story of like a person in this really weird and creepy situation asking for help from strangers online and like getting input from them. Especially since the story popped up and actually like happened on a posting of a message board. I was like, while reading it, I was able to imagine being one of the anonymous posters, like helping Hatsumi. Like I could kind of get into the mindset of like some of these people like posting and like trying to help her. And I was also able to get into Hasumi's shoes of like being in that space, being lost, and like asking desperately for help from some people online, or like again calling the cops, calling like my parents. I thought it was really cool. It was really good that she actually was able to contact her parents and actually contact the police, but they couldn't do anything about it because they couldn't find Kisaragi Station.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that added a lot to the idea of the story of like being lost, because a lot of the time in horror nowadays, a lot of horror stories try to remove the element of the cell phone.
Yes, be like, I have no signal here now. Shit.
Yeah. But but then this story and others, I've seen like one or two other stories like use this option where the phone still works and you're able to contact people, but it ain't gonna do shit because you're trapped in some other liminal space or another reality. And so like it's basically like that the situation of like
it's like when the GM gives you a rocket launcher, you know it's gonna do nothing against what you're about to
exactly.
fight.
When the Delta Green agents go to the green box to get their like supplies, and they're like, all right, can I have an AK-47? It's like, yep. Can I have some C4? Yep. Can I have a flamethrower? Yep. We're fucked, aren't we? Yep. All right, let's go into the death spiral. All right. That's for those about to die. We salute you. Yeah, it's that same kind of thing. It's like, yeah, you can have the cell phone. It's not going to mean shit though. You're trapped in other world. So, so that sense of the unknown too. Like it's like Mikey was saying, it's very much one of those situations where like less is more, and it's showing while telling. Like it's telling us, but it's showing us what's going on because we're seeing it through the eyes, through this limited window of like the back and forth of a posting. So I really kind of got creeped out from that while reading it, and able to get into like the situation from both ends of the postings. So actually, and actually this story also brought up, like I had recently watched some found footage films that did this sort of situation where like they're doing it, they're like, it's like a bunch of friends or like coworkers on Zoom calls, and like for like a Halloween special, or like they're like doing it as like part of a Halloween thing. Like it's because of COVID, they can't do anything else than like, so they're having like a Zoom call party, and then they decide to use a Ouija board, and shit gets weird and bad, and they're all helpless. Like from the poster side of thing, like they're all helpless because like they're trying to help their friend that the thing is affecting, and all they can do is like try and get a hold of them, try and contact them like from their homes, while something in the background happens and like grabs the person who's commenting, and then like the screen goes dark.
Nice.
But they're not able to like stop it, or they're not able. They're all. That's what, like that part of the angle of like the commenters I was kind of getting from this is like they're helpless.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a way, like they're trying to help, but they are helpless. In it's like sort of like that thing. Like if I'm kind of like I've always kind of wanted to run a game, like a game scenario, or like write a story where like it's a bunch of like people like us, like from like our sister podcast One Less Die, where we're recording we're live chatting our D&D game or our RPG game, and then like somebody like one of us, like something happens to one of us, and we have no idea what happened, but like they just like, we hear a lot of screaming, some weird sounds on their end, like some clattering and crashing, and then the microphone just goes, like their microphone goes silent, and we're just like, should we go check on them? Like should we go, like I'm a couple of like blocks away, maybe I should go check on them, and then that person might have to have something go wrong with that.
They don't show up.
Yeah, like we actually kind of had that situation, like a mundane version of it a couple of weeks ago when you fell asleep during one of our games. Twice in a row, I think. 3
times actually
happened. Yeah,
not to brag.
Yeah, not to brag, falling asleep in one of my games, but
it wasn't boring, I swear.
Yeah,
I was just tired.
I know, but yeah, no, we like while we were waiting for you, or like we pressed on a little bit longer after you weren't responding, and then we're like, I think we're gonna call it now. Do you guys think Gamer's okay?
Nice.
I don't know, man. Like, like maybe like I'm a couple of blocks away. Maybe I should go check on
Did
it.
you actually say that?
Yeah, I was half tempted to go out and like drive out to your place and like check to make sure you were okay. But yeah, no, it's that again, that kind of helplessness that this story kind of extrudes, or it exudes. And I was there for it. Like I was reading till the very end because I was really interested in it. And I'm not bothered by the fact that we don't really know a whole lot else other than like what happened to her. Like it felt honestly like honest to God, like campfire ghost story. And but it was a creepypasta because it all happened online. So it's an online ghost story. So because of all that, I will actually recommend this one because it was really cool. But Mikey, the E stands for evil. Your verdict.
Well, as I said before, I liked the whole not a lot of information, but it gave us a creepy vibe that something is wrong. Like, where are the people? What's with the station? Then we get the reveal that she basically read it wrong and it's Oni station. And I agree a bit with Cameron Yellow that the broken heel and the blood sort of comes out of nowhere. But at the same time, doesn't really matter overall because she's typing what she can.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't have the time to write a novel.
Yeah.
So overall, I'm going to give this a recommendation.
Okay. And Gamer.
I'm basically going to parrot you guys on this one because the story read well. There was a couple hiccups along the way. I wrote down 3 hours worth of grammar things. That being said,
yes, yeah.
With all of that aside, the story read quite well for what was there, and it was easy to get into the immersion of it, which is usually a killer for me. If there's no immersion, then I can't be spooked about it and all that. And because this was literally posted, and these are presumably actual responses from people to the original poster, I like that. There's a lot of immersion in that because maybe this did happen. Who knows? That being said, there's some stuff that isn't really explained as we were talking about, but what's there is good. I don't need more, as in I don't need to know the ending, like what actually happened to her, because that's the whole point of this. You only have the information up until the point that the original poster can post them. Once they can't post them anymore because they are, I don't know, dead or, in the middle of dying or running for their lives, they're not necessarily going to think about posting on the internet. So where it ends, I'm fine with. I just wish there was a couple of things along the way that were fleshed out a little bit to make it a little bit more realistic with the responses, like people responding to the crazy Karn guy, crazy Carl guy, who's like, hey, there's demons in there. You're in a different universe. It's like, no, she's probably not.
Them Oni's going to get that little girl.
Yeah, there should be a couple of guys being like, dude,
chill. Dude, like, why are you trying to scare her?
Exactly.
Like, this is yeah.
But overall, I like the story and I'll recommend it. There isn't really that many ways that you can improve it aside from just a little bit more additions to immersion. But if this is literally what people actually responded to it with, then that is realistic, right? Because this is what people actually responded to. Like, I don't know if there's a whole bunch of messages that were cut out of this or not.
From what I've gathered, this is like, even like through all the other iterations, this is it. Like, this was all the content. Like even the iterations I listened, the one other iteration I listened to, it was basically almost word for word. There was like again with only like a few slightly like modified details. Like again, instead of like 20 minutes, it was like an hour.
Yeah, but either
to get on
way,
the train. Yeah,
we've
so,
read and you've listened to finished sections of the story where it's been copy and pasted and put somewhere. The actual original content on 2chan, I'm curious if there were comments that were chopped out because they were just like, this is just his creepy story, it's not real, or something like that. I wonder if there's stuff cut out or if this is actually all the original content.
Fortunately, I mean, if I was to do a deeper dive, I might be able to find like a screen cap of the original, but it would be in Japanese. yeah.
Yeah, that too. But all in all, yeah, I'll recommend it.
Okay. Well, so like you were actually saying, like I wouldn't mind like a little bit more extra details and stuff like that on like not this, like I don't want to know more about like
end result.
Hasumi. Yeah, the end result, like what happened to Hasumi or something. But I wouldn't mind like finding a little bit more details about like Kisaragi Station or Kisaragi Station. We're all in luck because last night while I was doing more research on this, I discovered there is a part 2.
My God.
It is not a direct part 2 to this story though. It is. So this is also on the Kawabana's website. Kisaragi Station Part 2. After the original poster of Kisaragi Station thread disappeared, several others came forward stating they had also found the eponymous station. The following poster tweeted their experience from their Twitter in real time rather than post it on 2chan. The user's name was at Byakuren. And that is going to be next episode's creepypasta.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's I happened upon it like when I was finishing up my notes last night. I was like, oh, there's a part 2. And the first thing was like, I really hope the other guys don't like find this on the at the bottom of the of the Kawabana website and think that we're doing that one too today. But yeah, I was going to do another like Japanese creepypasta or urban legend that was on the Kawabana's like top 5 creepiest Japanese creepypastas. But I think we should do this one, like the sequel, or like the it's basically another account of encountering the Kisaragi
Is this
Station.
the last week of anime?
It will be the last week of anime.
Being said, that doesn't mean we can't still do the other one next.
Oh no, I do want to do some more of these. Like I said, like I'm really genuinely interested, and I'm sure we'll find some more Japanese creepypastas for next May. But I wouldn't mind doing some more of these like sometime in the summer. Like this, I would be down for doing more of these if you guys.
Hell yeah!
All right, cool.
I'm speaking for both of us, apparently.
Yeah. Well, Mikey's just so quiet.
Yeah, he just doesn't want to inconvenience us. He doesn't want to.
Yeah, he's too polite.
Yeah. Yet he's evil.
Mikey's the Hatsumi of our of Al Dente Rigor Mortis. But with that, yeah, we'll draw this episode to a close. So if you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. You can also send us messages on Twitter. Mikey is at the E stands for evil. The Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without that W because his name is very long. And I'm at Review Cultist. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, spooky things, urban legends. You creep it, we'll peep it. Yeah. And if you'd like to help support our show financially, you can go to Patreon. Look up Al Dente Rigor Mortis and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, early access, and extra content. And to our patrons that are helping support the show, thank you guys so much. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay, and we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of these stories, or the creators of this content, thank you immensely, because without your listenership, it would be like screaming into the void of a message board that is just shit posting us internally. or just remaining silent when we're asking for for help. And if people didn't create this content and post it online and engage with other people, like with strangers online, to create this kind of weird, spooky experience, we really wouldn't have much of a show because we'd have nothing to talk about. And for that, I thank you. So until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigor Mortis. Sleep well.